So I'm coming to you from my new place, and in this video I'm going to talk about how to know when you've taken too many herbs, and also I'm going to explore the notion of taking too many herbs. Is it possible? Can you do so? Is it something to be cautious of? Is it something to be aware of? Something to pay attention to? So, since I've been taking tonic herbs consistently and experimenting in this field for about 6+ years, I've taken a lot of herbs in a lot of different ways. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've wasted a lot of herbs. I've wasted a lot of money. I've spent a lot of money. I've run the whole gamut of things that you could do. And basically what I've distilled it down to understand, to help you to understand how to know when you've taken too many herbs, or the wrong combination, or just something that's not a good fit for you. Two things. First is obviously the gas, the indigestion, the diarrhea, that whole effect. If this is happening, it's happening consistently, you need to pay attention. You need to take a step back. You need to examine and say, ooh, maybe I'm doing too much. Maybe I'm doing the wrong combination. Maybe this isn't the right fit for me. You need to look at that. Now, of course, sometimes when we first start a program, we first start an herb, we first start a new thing, there's a little cleansing that can happen. But it takes a little bit of time to develop the awareness to be able to tell the difference between a disagreement and actual, cleansing that's taking us to a higher level. Like, for example, when someone starts to eat sauerkraut or a lot of fermented foods, at first they get a lot of gas, they get a lot of extra elimination. They think, oh, this is the wrong thing for me. It's worse. It's making my condition worse. Blah blah blah. When actually it's healing them and it's cleaning out the internal organs. And over time, what happens is those effects go away. For example, the amount of fermented foods that I consume on a daily basis now is so ridiculously much more than I could have even fathomed, a year or two ago. And on a daily basis, it's, for me, sauerkraut, coconut kefir, kombucha, yogurt. Usually that's what it is, in pretty copious amounts, so that it's a pretty much the foundation of what I actually eat on a daily basis, and without any negative side effects. Whereas before, if I would have tried that, probably would have been pretty disastrous. So the lesson there is, if you're having these effects, take a step back, start slow, start off easy, take less, work your way up, and over time you'll be able to take more and more and more and more, and your body will be able to handle it. You'll be able to open yourself up to it to get the good effect that you're after. The second thing to pay attention to is tightness, congestion, and just a feeling of stagnation or being blocked. And oftentimes how I can tell for myself is I feel this in my liver. You might feel it in a different organ, but primarily when you've overdone something, your liver is going to feel bogged down and sluggish because it's given so much to process. And if you already had a sluggish liver, a congested liver, a backed up liver before, and you burden it even more, you'll get this heavy, tight, swollen sensation in your liver. And if you start to massage your liver, it might be a little painful, and then maybe I need to back off, maybe I need to take a step back, maybe I need to re-examine. So those are the two ways that you can determine if you're taking too much of an herb and if you're having a negative effect. So the second thing that I want to bring up is, can you possibly take too many tonic herbs? Now, of course, you can, on the medicinal herbs, on the inferior herbs, on the herbs that are more drug-like and have side effects, of course. For the tonics, it really depends on where you're at, where your physiology is at, because I can tell you from my experience, from the people that I know, from the people I've worked with, when you start off, you're in one place, and when you get to a couple years into it, a couple months into it, 6, 12, 8 months, whatever, you're in a different place. So now I can easily take down, a tablespoon or two of reishi extract, a tablespoon of hoshiwu, a tablespoon of cordyceps, tablespoon of mucuna, all of these things in concentrated extract form, whereas a year or two ago that would have just totally floored me, and there's no possible way that I could handle it, both from a taste palate perspective because my body wasn't acclimated, and from just a digestive perspective as well. So over time, the lesson is not to say that you should or you must take these amounts, but I like to experiment and push the limits and see what the effects are at different dosages over periods of time, and I'm always experimenting, always trying new things so that I can have things to bring to you, to tell you from my own experience, rather than just, oh, I read this or some dude told me this or whatever. So the last concept that I want to bring up is this whole notion that a lot of people have in the raw food community of viewing the body as this weak, broken organism that, oh, we shouldn't eat this because it's a burden on this, and you have to combine your food this way because it's a burden on this organ, and you got to be really careful because your body can't handle it. Why would you eat that? Your body can't digest this, it can't process that. And honestly, it's like just a negative mindset. And usually these people are like really spiritual or new agey or kind of airy-fairy or just overcompensating with false positivity because in reality they're viewing themselves negatively. They're having a negative belief about their own body, about the capabilities of their own body. And of course that neurosis just manifests for as long as it takes. It's kind of like, you know, you can keep walking into a closed door over and over and over and over and over for the rest of time, no problem. But eventually, you probably want to look for the door handle so you can open it up and walk through. Just saying, that's been my experience. So if you have that mindset of your body and viewing your body as this weak, broken down, fallen from grace kind of a thing, you might want to examine that and ask yourself if it's really true, for one, if it's really the most ideal paradigm belief system to have. If it is, that's fine, but for me, it's not really ideal. It's not really helping me achieve the goals that I want to achieve. Lastly, the body is strong, it's resilient. Look around in the world, look what people are doing and surviving on. Look at people who have achieved great things, eating terribly, doing terrible things. So it's not a sure equation. It's not saying that if you eat this way, you're going to achieve greatness. That's not true. So it's a little bit of a tangent. So hopefully that answers your questions, because I've been getting some about taking too many herbs, too many combinations, what have you. So hopefully you can have those tools that I've given you to be able to look in yourself, look in your own experience, and determine if you're taking too much and if it's reacting with you positively or negatively. So it's important to remember that we each have a different physiology, a different state of mind, a different consciousness, different nervous system, all of these things. So these herbs can interact with each of us in slightly different ways. So if you have any questions or comments, post them below, and I'll talk to you.